Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specialising in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I write all about cruise over at cruisingwithkids.com on our MSM feed and over at Mini Travellers.
And today, Sarah, we are going to do another one of our kind of embarkation port series, I guess, if we want to call them a series. We don't really have series anymore, but it's just, this is a really important kind of cruise terminal, isn't it, within Europe? If you are going to take a cruise from the Greek Isles, it's highly likely that your cruise will embark from not necessarily this port in the way that cruises work, but near this town or this city anyway. So do you want to introduce where we're going to be sailing from today?
I forgot already. Right. No, is it Athens? It's Athens.
It's Athens, yeah.
It's because I've never been. Oh, where is it? Yeah, we're going through Athens. So I know nothing. I've never been.
Yep.
So you can educate me. So I'll probably be asking a lot of questions.
So I did 2 cruises last year from Athens. So Virgin Voyages, as no surprise to anybody, was the cruise we chose to sail with last year. And we did 2 cruises. One, we went from Athens, and I'll give a bit of a spoiler. It wasn't necessarily from Athens you sail, up to the Adriatic, and we done Dubrovnik, Croatia, and Montenegro. And then the second sailing we did with Virgin that year, we did the Greek Isles. So again, it's a great jumping point off, obviously, being Greece, to explore the Greek Isles like Mykonos, Santorini, places like that. So it's one of the ports you can embark from to do those destinations. In that way that cruise lines geography works, and same like most airports work as well, it's not actually Athens you sail out of. It's a kind of nearby town on the coast called, and we had to check this because I've been saying this wrong for about 2 years now, but it's Piraeus, which is right on the coastal town. And we rarely book customers to stay in Piraeus just because it is very much a coastal town and it's got a really bad reputation. And the first cruise we did choose to stay in Piraeus, and I don't regret it because the hotel was fine. It was really convenient, but it wasn't the nicest area at all.
Right, okay. So I suppose that's something that you don't know, do you? You just think, oh, I'll book there. So how far is that from the cruise port from Athens?
Athens itself is quite a distance away from kind of the cruise terminal in Piraeus. You're looking at a good 15-20 minute taxi journey, kind of if you want to stay in the centre of Athens and then kind of obviously sail from Piraeus. You can totally stay in Piraeus. There are hotels there, but they're very 2-star, 3-star. And it's not a up-and-coming area. I would never say it's up-and-coming. It's not gentrified. There isn't much culture there. If you choose to stay in Piraeus, you're very much staying for the convenience factor, not for the amenities factor. It's pretty much somewhere to put your bed down, your head down for the night, get on that ship type of thing.
Right, okay. So I suppose if you've got a late flight, then hotel, ship, that's it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to explore and you want to look around and have a bit of culture, then 20 minutes isn't far in an Uber. I mean, when when you go to America, you don't think anything of getting a 50 minute, hour and a half. I mean, it was an hour and a half, I think, from Disney to Fort Lauderdale. And we didn't think twice about that. And because you just factor it in, that's the price of the holiday. So I don't know why in Europe we expect everything to be next door to each other.
It's crazy, isn't it? It is. Yeah. I know. It's a perception because public transport's usually quite good. And we've done some exploration by public transport. So the first time we flew into Athens Airport on our very first trip where we stayed in Piraeus, we did get the train. We got the mainline train from the airport right the way through to Piraeus, and it kind of took us about 10-15 minute walk away from our hotel. Now, me as a travel agent, I would never suggest that journey to a customer. I wouldn't kind of go, this is the best way to do it. I would recommend to somebody who's kind of like, what's the cheapest way to do it? And it is, get the train and stay in Piraeus, definitely. Like, we paid maybe £50 per night for our hotel in Piraeus, and, you know, it was a 2-star hotel. It was absolutely fine, spotless, immaculate. Both of us were actually quite surprised when you're like, the price you pay for a hotel, you get into it, you're like, I'm actually surprised there's not anything wrong with this hotel room. It's just, as the travel agent, you kind of want to showcase the best of a destination, and the area surrounding our hotel. And from the second you step out of the hotel, you're stepping out onto broken cobbles. It's on a street where the bins are all lining kind of the street type of thing. The breakfast is fine, but it was basic. It was just one of those type of thing. It was £50 a night, an absolute bargain pre-cruise type of thing. Getting the metro again, sweaty, hot. You know, it wasn't pleasant in the slightest, but we needed at that time to do that trip the cheapest way possible because, as you say, we didn't want to pay £200-300 a night to stay in Athens. where we were arriving at like 9 o'clock at night. By the time you get into central Athens, it's 10 o'clock. We weren't going to see anything.
Yeah, that's it. And then you don't really get the benefit anyway. The only thing, I suppose, sometimes is it's nice to get a hotel near the port so you can wake up and see the ship. Sometimes that, that's, and then you can go for a walk in the morning. And but there is always that argument, no matter where you stay. Do you stay in an airport hotel because it's going to be super cheap, or do you go in and go into a decent tourist area? And so you've got a picture behind you for anybody that's on YouTube. Where's that?
So this was the second trip we went, whereby we were showboating. So this was the second time we went, and we had my mum with us. So there was a little bit of a different expectation on that one, because it was more of a holiday rather than us going on to meet a Brazilian lady for her launch. So we had a little bit more funds available to kind of spend on this trip. So this is the Athens Gate Hotel, which is quite literally in the center of kind of the entertainment district, I guess, if you want to call it that, an area called Plaka in Athens itself. And this is 100% where I put all my customers, again, budget willing, if I can justify it, because Plaka and the surrounding area, where now I forgot which god this is, but this is the main Acropolis in the center of Athens again. It's lit up beautifully at night, and kind of, you can probably see in the picture all the side streets and everything. There's all cafes, there's bars, there's shops and everything. It's very much what we would expect from kind of a city break. So our first trip when we were in Piraeus, I was very much like, oh, if this is Athens, I'm not in a rush to come back. But then when we stayed in the Athens Gate Hotel, and again, this is the rooftop garden where we had, this is the night before, but this is where we came back after exploring for the day and had a drink here. Open top rooftop bar that oversees kind of the Acropolis, and then there's a garden, a public garden the other way facing the front of the hotel, which overlooks again another ruins. It's everything you expect from Athens, kind of ruined buildings lit up at night beautifully, gorgeous views and everything. Waking up and having breakfast with these views were incredible type of thing. It was that postcard that you expect Athens to be, at least anyway.
And did you get the train to that, or did you get an Uber or a transfer?
Yeah, we did get the train to this one as well, and my mother still hasn't forgiven me for it. Like, she moans all the time. I was like, it's really easy. We were arriving earlier, so it was rush hour, so it was worse than when we were doing it late at night type of thing. So still to this day, she hasn't forgiven me at all. She was like, we should have just got the taxi. And I was like, no, you're right. We should have just got a taxi. So taxi back. So we did get a taxi back from the cruise terminal. I think we paid about €40 from Piraeus to Athens, and that's about an hour, maybe just less, like 50 minutes basically. So it was about €40. And then from Plaka, the area we stayed in, to the cruise terminal the next day, it was about €20. So not that expensive at all, really. So why we didn't get a taxi is a mystery to me, but
I know
me
you
and
probably
Phil quite like getting a train.
Yeah, Donna likes that. Donna and Darren get trains, but I know last time we were in Rome, it cost us €280 return for our transfer, and I was weeping a bit. But when he turned up in his big air-conditioned car, and I thought, if I'd have been on the train with Jack and Joe, I'd have ended up pushing them off because they'd have moaned all the time. And I just thought, it ruins it for me. And I'm quite happy to get a train if it was me and Chris. But no, where there's a taxi, I will get on a taxi. I'd much prefer it. I want to be picked up.
Mum was very shocked.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mum.
I should have. And I mean, it's one of those things that we're just decisions you make. And in hindsight, I was looking at the rates we get for transfers. And normally I'm quite hesitant about recommending our transfers because I'm not going to lie, they're quite expensive. There is a reason why, it's because the service you get and all that type of stuff. But they're actually not that bad for Athens either. So in hindsight, I should have just booked transfers for myself. But we like to save money in stupid places, and getting the train is one of them. But yeah, I regret it now. And if I do it a third time, I will not be getting the train. I will definitely be booking transfers and doing it that way. Because as you say, having that waiting for you as you arrive type of thing, getting into an air-conditioned car and being taken across the city and dropped to the door, is so much better than carting your suitcases up and down the train station and having people sit on you and hit you with their bag and shut down. Like, yeah, it wasn't a good experience. I wouldn't recommend it. It is possible, definitely, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I bet your mum was giving you evil on that train. Nothing like that.
Luckily, the hotel made up for it. When we got to the hotel and she saw the rooftop garden, she was like, I'll lay you off then. But my name was mucked for a good hour as we landed, type of thing.
So what would you recommend people do there? So first of all then, so if one of your customers is travelling, or if somebody is watching and they've got a trip booked, are they better off booking a transfer, or is it just as easy to get an Uber there?
Definitely I can book transfers, and now I know that the rates aren't actually that bad. Now that I've taken taxis, I probably will be pushing them a little bit more. The problem we have with transfers is that if anything's going to fail on one of our bookings, it will be a transfer. Even if we pre-book it and we ring ahead and check like we always do, honestly, because of like traffic in the area, maybe their drop off before was late, all that type of stuff. If ever I get a phone call from a customer when they're in resort, it's going to be the transfer is going to be the issue. So I just rather be honest and say, it's probably going to be the same price as you booking an Uber. So obviously, every airport you get outside, there's going to be a taxi rank waiting, or you can use Uber. In some destinations, you can use Lyft. And 9 times out of 10, and I personally would do that, I would just use an Uber and get an Uber. I can't, like I said, we paid around about 40-50 going home, so I would guess it would be the same price to go again. Well, it'd probably be less. It'd be about 30 to go from Athens to Plaka, the central area of Athens.
And what did you do while you was there?
So this time around, we stayed in kind of like I say, the area of Plaka, which is a bit more central. It's a bit more cultured as well. So there's a lot of nightlife bars. We did have a wander around the blocks. We had to get some medicine for my mum. So we had a bit of a walk around the shopping area during the daytime, which was quite nice. We stopped off to get a drink. I forgot the name of the area, but it was just behind our hotel type of thing, overlooking the Acropolis. And definitely, and you should know better being a travel agent, but you get hit with that tourism tax. So it's that always like, if in doubt, walk a few meters further and go off the beaten path, because I feel like we paid a premium for the view of the Acropolis rather than finding some of that maybe was a little bit off the beaten path and we maybe would have got a better meal for a better price. So I would definitely recommend don't always settle for the first place with the best view, because normally you're paying for the view and not paying for the quality of the meal. So from there, we went further afield, and I don't know the names of any of these streets, but there was a really cool street that's kind of going down a set of steps, and there was loads of really cool bars all down the steps, and they had like fairy lights over the canopy of it type of thing. That was a really beautiful street to go down, and it was heaving. So I wish we would have kind of maybe walked a bit further afield to kind of find places like that. But there was an abundance of places to get Greek food, little quiet bars to sit in. But we did find 2 bars that were recommended to me by another travel agent that we went to that I have fallen in love with, and I will highly recommend to anyone who ever goes to Athens beforehand. Should I say where they are?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one, and I'm a rum fan, so any bar where they're kind of like rum is the champion spirit, I'm like, get me in there. But it was, I'm going to forget the name of it now. Let me get the name of it up. But it was Rum Bar off the top of my head. Bar. Let me see if I can find my photos.
That sounds like a Lady Gaga line.
It does, doesn't it?
Where?
It was... Oh, Baba U Rum, sorry. So Baba, B-A-B-A, and then new word, A-U, and then rum. So it is a rum bar. And it was a really cute little bar in the central Plaka type of thing. You could just Google it and it comes up on Google Maps. But it just had literally an abundance of different varieties of rum, but it also had a full menu of rum cocktails as well. So shorts, longs, talls, fruity, sours, all of them type of thing. So I could have spent the entire night in this bar. It was like just so cool. And then the other one, I'm going to forget the name of it, but it's going with the sea. In fact, let me go to my Google Maps. I bookmarked on Google Maps. But there's another really cool cocktail bar, which has slightly more range of spirits, which was really, really nice as well. But it's a bit further around. These are all within walking distance. I would say this was about 15 minutes to Barbaru Rum. And then about 5 minutes away from Barbaru Rum was the other one. This begins with the Clumsies. I knew it began with a C. So the other one then is a bar called the Clumsies, which again, really cool. This is a bit bigger, a bit more trendier cocktail menu, full cocktail menu. This one, the Clumsies, does sell food. So if you wanted to maybe grab a bite to eat, more like bar food, like chicken wings and things like that, then you can go to the Clumsies and get a little bite to eat type of thing. But they are my top 2 picks if you're kind of looking for cocktails, at least anyway in Athens. You could definitely go to Barbaru Rum and the Clumsies.
You do like a cocktail, don't you?
I do like a cocktail of 5. Definitely.
I'm definitely more. I sit there and I think cocktail, and they come over and say wine, please. Just comes out. It's just like I feel like I'm going to take a risk and get a cocktail that I don't like. I don't know, but yeah, I like wine. But did you do any sightseeing?
So we went to see the Acropolis, really. That was it. Because again, we were getting in earlier than our first trip, but it was still the day before the cruise. So it was kind of like around about 4 or 5-ish. I think we got into the hotel by the time we kind of freshened up and were going out to everything. So it was more kind of like evening, sun was setting. So we pretty much, like I say, we walked around the block and we went to the Acropolis, which is one of the main sites you want to see. I've actually got Google Maps in front of me now, so I will remember the names of all these places so I can sound more cultured than I am. Now, the Acropolis, the tips I picked up, that we didn't follow these, but the tips I picked up was do it first thing in the morning before the mad rush comes in. So it does mean you kind of do sunrise, or do it at the end of the day, basically just before it's closing. If you try and go during like lunchtime, it's going to be heaving and you're going to be surrounded by lots and lots of people, and you're not really going to have that nice kind of pictures you want to take of just you in front enjoying the Acropolis type of thing, because it's just inundated with tourists. So everyone says it's one of those get up and do it first thing, or go see it at the end of the day as it's starting to close type of thing. So that's when the crowds are the thinnest. It's like any tourist attraction, really. It's beautiful. We did get to see it, like I say, from our hotel, and from the ground area, you can see it all around. But if you want to go up to the top of the mountain, I believe there's like a lift and an elevator that takes you to the top. And I can't remember the price. It wasn't overly expensive. It was just, it sounds like a really bad tourist. None of us were bothered. None of us cared to go up there. Like, I asked the group, asked my mum. My mum was like, I've seen buildings. Phil is equally like, churches Phil loves, Greek monuments and like old ruins. Not so much Phil's speed. I quite like things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not my family's speed. So they were like, I can see it. I don't want to pay to see it any closer. So I'm like,
I was looking, thinking, how do you get up there? But it's a lift.
Yes, yeah, there's an elevator that takes you in. That much I do know. I done a bit of research because I was kind of interested in it. But again, by the time we arrived, it was too late in the day. And then none of us are morning people. So nobody was in a rush to get up in the morning to kind of get up there, including myself. I'm not a morning person. But a ticket for the day and an audio tour is around about £30 to £40, basically. So it would be, roughly $50-ish, something like that, to get access to it.
Well, it's not bad then, is it, really? It's when you compare it to some things that are so extortionate.
And then across from where we were in the hotel, there's also a botanical garden. Now, again, there was a marathon. I remember now, there was a marathon happening outside our hotel. So that's the reason why we didn't go over the other side of the street. Sorry, I remember now. Because our wake-up call was all the announcements on the tannoy screaming down the street and everything. So I was like, oh, great. But there's the botanical gardens. There is also other ruins as well across the road from us, which it was on the map. The Temple of Zeus, I think it was, it said. I clicked on that. I'm not telling the name of it. But there is another one as well then across... here we go. The Temple of Olympian Zeus then is across the road. It's slightly more run down and it's more ground level. So it's not on the top of a hill, on top of a mountain. So it's a bit more easier to walk around. But the following morning, it was all blocked off for this marathon that was happening. But we could see that from our breakfast, just the opposite direction type of thing. But there's a whole botanical garden. You can walk around there as well if you wanted to. There are obviously tons of museums, all that type of stuff. But again, we didn't really have that much time to kind of go out and explore it because we were arriving lunchtime and leaving lunchtime.
Yeah.
Leaving breakfast time, sorry.
The cruise port, I mean, is it a swanky cruise port? Because, no. Go on, tell us about the cruise
shaking
port.
my head aggressively, like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time we checked in, so Virgin rotate around terminals, depends on what they're allocated. They don't have a fixed terminal. So the first time we got there, we generally thought we were turning up to a bomb shelter. I make no exaggerations whatsoever. Like, as we were approaching from Piraeus, walking across into the cruise terminal, there's just this abandoned concrete, like 80s building, just empty, derelict. But the other side of it was celebrity. I think Millennium or Infinity was docked there. And I was like, surely that's not the cruise terminal. Yes, it is the cruise terminal.
Oh, God.
So it's nothing glamorous type of thing. And I remember we have priority check-in because we're part of the loyalty club. And they were like, sure, no worries. If you'd like to wait over into the priority check-in area. I mean, it's literally like this concrete shell square with a canopy over it type of thing. Because there are no facilities in this complex whatsoever. And it's just, it's not the most glamorous kind of embarkation port. So speaking to the authority, the local guy, like from the representative from Virgin, who we knew, who looks after all the embarking, he was saying basically that pre-COVID, they were meant to be investing X amounts of millions to kind of renovate it all and add new facilities and whatnot. But obviously the economic crisis that's happening in Greece and then COVID coming along, they kind of stopped. So they've taken all these luxury cruise liners to sail from Piraeus and haven't invested to actually put in the facilities for them. It's not the most glamorous.
Is it quite quick to get through? Because I suppose if you're not spending much time in there, it's not that bad, is it? I mean, embarkation, I mean, in America, you're through. You're on.
Yeah.
So is it similar to that?
It's pretty much the same as well. And Virgin, I will say, their embarkation, as long as you arrive at the time slot you're supposed to, you're on within minutes type of thing. I don't think I've spent longer than 5 minutes doing check-in it's literally a case of, yeah, we got your passport, yeah, we got your docs, yeah, we got your credit card, off you go. Obviously with a lot more personality than that, but it's very, very quick. It's amongst the quickest in the industry. Like I think them and Celebrity are the leaders in kind of like getting you on that ship as quick as you can. We were just early because we knew we had priority boarding, so we got there before we should have. So they were just like, yeah, sure, wait over here. In defense, the second voyage was in a different terminal, same place, Piraeus, but it was around the corner instead of the one that they tend to berth at most. And Virgin had put out, I don't know whether it was Virgin or the terminal, but there were a load of like marquee tents for you to wait in. So they had like chairs. Again, they were plastic chairs, but they had chairs in there. They had water bottles, air conditioning. So the second time we went, it was a bit more of a structure, and they had like proper branding and signage up. I get the impression the first time we went, it was all a bit, oh, yeah, we're here, make this happen. But the first terminal, we actually, once we'd done our passport check, we went through an actual proper building, and that was very much like an arrivals or departures lounge, where there was a couple of shops and a couple of places to get drinks and things like that. But that was once we were allowed to kind of do pre-boarding type of thing.
Yeah. All right. So, because it is a big deal, isn't it, if you have a bad experience at the port, I think. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bad... Was it Dublin we went out of? Belfast? I don't think that was that clever.
It's pretty much a marquee, isn't it?
Yeah. But like Barcelona, we've always gone out the big ones, so the experience is always good. I'd say that Royal Caribbean is just leaps and bounds above anyone. I mean, NCL last time, they're still doing the old, right, you go and you get put in a group and they call it in groups.
Yeah.
So I just don't see that's necessary. You there, get on. Why are they calling groups? I don't know, but where Royal get you on, don't they?
Yeah, I think like say Royal's whole embarkation process, Celebrity and Royal, is so efficient. Like it's scary efficient, but because you do it all before you get on board the ship and it's all done via your sea pass. Like if you're given it, and Virgin do a similar system, so you put it all in via the app when the app actually works, and then you get given an embarkation time. So assuming you arrive at the time, and Virgin are really strict, as soon as you come at the time slot you're supposed to, you are then let straight in, and you just literally have your passport checked, get given your C-band, and you're on the ship type of thing. And that's very much how Royal and Celebrity work as well. You get given an embarkation time as long as you're in the terminal at that time. They let you in, check your documents are all matching up, and on you go type of thing. So they're both really efficient. I wouldn't say like that the Piraeus thing let me down, but I just don't think it's a destination, if you get what I mean. It's not somewhere I would recommend somebody like intentionally go there to spend some time. Kill an hour or two in a cafe nearby before you cruise, by all means. But it's definitely not a destination port. There's nothing to see nearby. There's no landmarks. Like we desperately went looking. There was a bit of artwork, but it'd been destroyed and covered in graffiti type of thing. Like one of those sculptures you get. It just literally had been vandalized, basically. Like that's kind of what Piraeus is, and it's a shame, but that's how a lot of these places are. Like the really glamorous bit is miles away from the actual infrastructure bit.
I suppose it's only like when you go to Icos Resorts and when you go out of the place to have a wander, it's a struggling country, isn't it? So there is no nice shops or glamour. I mean, everybody was lovely, but there's nothing pretty about some of these streets. And I think you've just got to manage your expectations and have a plan of, right, well, if I'm going to go here, I'm not going to go for a wander. This is what I'm going to find. Because I felt safe walking the streets in Greece, in mainland Greece. But I think you've just got to have a plan, because there is no wandering to find lovely, pretty things around a corner like you're going to get in London and Miami. You've got to have some sort of structure to what you're going to do.
It is very hard, and I'm glad I've done it now, and I wish I would have maybe done a bit more research than I had, and I'm very glad that other travel agent gave me those recommendations of like the Clumsies and Babaru Rum, because I probably wouldn't have stumbled into Plaka and fallen in love with it if I hadn't been intentionally looking for those places, if you get what I mean. Like I booked Athens Gate because the pictures look lovely, and because I knew I had an amazing view of the Acropolis. I didn't know anything more than that. I hadn't researched the area or anything like that by the time we booked, because it was my first booking to Athens when I actually booked it years ago. So I was going purely to learn more about, what Athens is, what it has to offer. I learned a lot more by the time I booked hours and went, so I had a bit of an inkling. But definitely I would say, there are other pockets around Athens as well, but if you want to see quintessential downtown Athens and get that kind of Athens experience, and definitely the Plaka area, which is right in the center. Around there's a couple of parks, there's loads of museums and monuments. That's the place you want to go type of thing. It's also where the downtown shopping area it is. If you want to kind of do high street shopping, again, I don't know the name of the exact area, but it's around the Plaka area you'll be able to get to. I think you've got to walk from where we were to get to Plaka through the high street, if I remember rightly.
Have you got a review of the hotel on your website?
Don't, and I should do, shouldn't I? But I don't think I took many pictures, to be honest. I got pictures of the rooftop garden, took loads, but I don't think I took many pictures of the room, because we were kind of in a rush to get through it, so I didn't really go with that mentality, unfortunately, of like take lots of nice pictures of the room and things like that. I can use the hotel's room for photos, I guess. But definitely, it's always sold out. How
much was the hotel?
What I booked here was really good priced. I think, I can't remember now, because it was all, technically, it was for a package, even though I was the person managing the package, it was all a package price. But I think, like, I'm seeing it now for about 200 a night. It's got up quite a lot since then. And I was about to say, I struggle to get customers in it now. Like, I recommend this hotel all the time. I share pictures from where we stayed into it, and it's obviously one of the few with a rooftop garden. I struggle to get customers into it if they don't book it a good 9-10 months beforehand. And we booked it a year in advance to get into it. It has 40 rooms. It's quite a small hotel type of thing. I do have a blog on my website, which is, I think it's like the top 6 or 7 hotels in Athens with rooftop pools. I put a bit of research into this because I keep getting asked, people want to stay in a hotel with a rooftop pool. There's a few lovely ones as well that do have rooftop pools, and a handful of them, maybe 2 or 3, are near Plaka as well, where we were staying. So you get that view again of the Acropolis with the added benefit of a pool, which our hotel didn't have a pool.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's been a really good insight into the port, because I think as long as you know what to expect, you can plan, can't you, and book your taxi and book your trips. And so, no, I think we need to do more of that so that people know what to expect and make it easy for them.
It's such a big part of your cruise. Everything is your pre-cruise, post-cruise state type of thing. And I think for us in the UK, and I know Americans have no choice, but even for us in the UK, I think it's very difficult to fly in the morning of the cruise. There are very few flights because of the time difference and how long the flight is, where you could fly in the morning of in Athens. There's like maybe one flight from London that leaves early in the morning, get you there just in time. And even that's a risk that I know a lot of tour operators don't like booking it. So it is something you probably will have to factor in a pre-night stay or 2. So what we done for our flights, we done a night before and a night after. So we had an extra day either end of it just to make the flights more reasonably priced, because flying Saturday and a Sunday pre and post cruise was too expensive. So we extended that to justify the prices. But yeah, definitely you want to make sure you're staying in a decent area, because as you say, pockets of Athens can be very, very questionable.
I'd never, ever go on the day, because we've gone, like when we've flown out at many cruises out of Barcelona, and quite a few times we've been delayed. I mean, Donna and Darren once, they were in the lounge and we were in the airport, and she was messaging me, she sent pictures of her champagne, and their plane got cancelled and ours didn't. So we got there and they didn't get there till the next day. So they had to put them in a hotel and everything.
I've only ever done it for work once, where the supplier is in the people who gave us the trip. So it was the Virgin Voyages spam trip I did. They flew us in the morning of. And it's the only time I've ever done it, and I hated it because I'm not a morning person. So by the time I got onto the ship, I was exhausted. I have had a day already. I have to be up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, we did it in Dublin, and I found that well stressful.
Yeah, not a fan.
You just don't enjoy it, do you? Because you're too tired.
I don't like doing it if I'm booking it using my Atoll license. I will avoid it if I can. Some of other suppliers I work with will do it, and they will take the risk on it if the plane gets cancelled, gets delayed. But personally, with me, I will do everything in my power to avoid it. And sometimes it means losing the booking because it's more expensive to add on the hotel and the pre-night stay and all that type of stuff. But in my opinion, it's the right thing to do, because as you say, if the flight's delayed, you've got an extra day to try and catch it, or you can try from somewhere else. Whereas if it's delayed the morning of, the ship's gone without you, and technically as the Atoll package provider, it's my responsibility if I sell that.
No, I'd always go the day before.
Guys, I hope that's been a good insight for you. It's a bit of a short episode, but there's not a lot to say, really. Athens is an amazing city. You've got amazing Greek culture, Greek food, amazing history, all the things you get to know and expect, but definitely try and do a bit of research, or again, singing my own bells now that I know it firsthand. Definitely work with a travel agent who knows the area and can recommend some nice hotels for you to stay in. I've got a blog that I'll link on here as well about kind of the hotels that I've researched that I know are really, really nice to stay in as well into this post. But Sarah, if you've got any content about kind of obviously cruising in general, where's the best place the guys can find that?
So you can find it at cruisingwithkids.co.uk.
Brilliant. And guys, if you are interested in booking a cruise, sailing the Greek Isles or the Adriatic, which is an episode we probably should talk about, actually. We haven't talked about the Adriatic or the Greek Isles much. I know we've done Mykonos, but I want Santorini, actually. So check those episodes out, actually. If you are interested in learning more about the Greek Isles, we've got our Mykonos and Santorini episodes, but check those out. But back to me, Sarah. If you'd like to book a cruise with me, you can find me anywhere online under magical-traveler.com, or all my social media is magicaltrblr. Other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.